We tried to make a parking plaza, I think, or some building near Jhika Gali, and the whole governor house side of the mountain starts sliding down, and it was with very high effort and with very high cost, with I think tons of concrete, low use of concrete. It was the government was able to stop that slide. Murree was established on a ridge, basically, which used to be basically grazing lands for a village down, which name was Masyari. So British bought it from Masyari village people at a very nominal rate, and in 1849 they established Murree as a small sanatorium. Later it was converted into a cantonment. So the purpose was कि जो British soldiers होते थे and even civil servants who used to be toiling in plains or frontiers में वो they were fighting wars, so वो उनको लेके जब वो समर होते थे तो for to revive and recoup those soldiers or civil servants would come to Murree for a brief period as well as to improve their health. तो इस तरह ये डेवलप होना शुरू हुआ. पहले it was also made the summer capital of Punjab. बहुत जल्दी अंदाजा हुआ कि there was a water scarcity and I mean उस water scarcity की वजह से cholera was very rampant and especially in children and families. So slowly British started thinking about shifting from Murree, and then in 1876, because of this primarily water shortage, the summer capital of Punjab was shifted to Shimla. Later on in 1890s, the water problem was resolved to a large extent by laying down this Dunga Gali Murree pipeline. British went back in 1947 and Pakistan gained independence. Immediately after that, because a lot of British left, so initially Pakistani elite stepped in, and there were a lot of properties and those were owned by, again, Pakistani elite in late 40s and 50s and even 60s. Every actually feudal family would you will find their home in Murree. जैसे जैसे middle class income हमारी improve हुई, तो people start going to Murree, और Murree में उसके बाद फिर hotels बनने शुरू हो गए और अपार्टमेंट्स बनने शुरू हो गए. लोगों ने जो ज़्यादातर शुरू में हुआ कि people used to rent out villas over there for some 2 or 3 months, and families would go and stay there, or they would reside in hotels. So from elite hotels, जो एक second year of hotels भी बनने शुरू हो गए. This went up till like I would say something like 80s and 90s में then there was a bit there was a growth spurt, और उसमें फिर बहुत ज़्यादा construction हुई छोटे घरों की, apartment buildings की. Murree soil is not conducive for a huge or heavy load construction, so big buildings and everything. And we saw some examples as well that in 2005 there was a building collapse on one of the roads, Viewforth Road, a very popular road in Murree. Coming back to 97, 99, so there was a very limited construction that was allowed in up till 2000. 2001 local bodies election. So there was a new local government regime in which the local governments were very autonomous. They allowed rampant construction of hotels and buildings at that point in 2001. So that rampant construction, and most of the construction you see today in Murree, Mall Road, the huge high multi-story hotels, 8-story hotels, that is from that period. That construction ban which started around 2008, went up till 2018. There are some obvious pros and benefits of this commercialization in terms of local jobs, in terms of local economy. I think it's still 90% of our tourism is actually to Murree and Galiath region because of its accessibility, because it's just outside Islamabad and Rawalpindi. So almost everyone goes to Murree. Without a doubt, a very people benefit from it in terms of jobs and in terms of income growth. What people don't realize is that it has a cost. It is not sustainable. The downside of this commercialization is that a lot of these buildings are losing out to now these hotels. Yeah, overall, this commercialization has negatively impacted Murree in terms of its environment, in terms of waste disposal, in terms of forestation has gone down, in terms of people. I mean, if you are walking on Mall Road, you won't even see mountains, you won't even see valley views, because everywhere they are building the monstrous structures which are hindering your view. I think the minuses of commercialization are much, much more than the benefits that have been accrued to Murree. Murree is one of the most affordable tourist sites we have in Pakistan. But we also have to consider safety of those very tourists. We also have to consider whether that's sustainable for that town or not, that's sustainable for that area or not. Murree had 18 water springs, natural water springs. They are now, most of them have gone now. So Murree is dependent on its water supply. I mean, I would say it artificial water supply because it's being brought to Murree through pipelines. So it's not sustainable. So I think building regulations is one of the key which government should be taking care of. We tried to make a parking plaza, I think, or some building near Jhika Gali, and the whole governor house side of the mountain starts sliding down, and it was with very high effort and with very high cost, with I think tons of concrete, low use of concrete. It was the government was able to stop that slide. So that thing can one day, God forbid, become our nightmare. So what I would say is that while local affordable tourism is our objective, but then it should also be sustainable. A good supervised, autonomous Murree Development Authority, for that matter, which has a lot of powers to generate revenues from Murree entry fees, from visitors, from congestion charges from cars, taxes from hotels and restaurants. So it should be able to generate that kind of revenue, and that then revenue should also be spent in Murree on, for example, especially waste collection and disposal, on keeping roads clean during snowstorms like we just saw recently. I mean, and then the traffic should be managed.